For the first few minutes following engine startup, generally, a choke plate needs to be closed over the primary ventures of the carburetor. This will enrich the air-fuel mixture to allow the engine to run at a higher RPM to warm it up. There's 4 types of chokes that you might have come across as the original equipment on your engine. There's hot air, divorce, electric, and manual chokes. Hot air and divorce choke systems need to be removed before you install your new carburetor because those systems are not compatible with Holley carbs. There are 2 types of chokes that Holley offers. The most simple choke type is the manual setup. A cable will be run through the firewall and a lever will be located inside the car. First, set the choke plate to a beginning closed position. Leaving a gap about the size of a number 2 pencil is a good starting point for most engines. Now the protruding wire should slip into the choke lever fastener, but don't tighten it yet. Next, the choke cable housing should be put into the cable bracket of the choke assembly and get tightened in place there. Double check that the choke is still in your starting position, and now you can tighten the choke lever fastener. Get in the car and mark the position of the choke lever somehow, and then push in the lever. Here's where you want to verify that the choke is set to a full open position for when the engine is running. Now, when the lever is pulled inside the vehicle to the point that you marked, the choke will close to the preferred position and the engine will have an easier time starting up. From here on, the lever will need to be pushed back in after each time the engine warms up, which usually takes about 3 minutes. The most common type of choke is the electric choke. The process of opening and closing the choke plate during engine warm-up is automated. When the engine is cold, you'll set the starting position of the choke plate according to what causes your cold engine to start quickest. Then you'll need to run a single wire from your electrical system to the positive terminal of the choke housing. The wire needs to have a full 12 volts when the ignition key is turned to the on position and no voltage when the key is turned off. The wire that runs to the positive side of your ignition coil and the coil terminal itself should not be used as a 12-volt source. They won't allow the choke to fully open. Also, don't assume that your factory choke wire will provide a full 12 volts at all times. Most don't. It's best to run a completely separate wire. Now you'll want to double check the ground wire that goes to the negative terminal of the choke housing. Most Holley carbs already include a ground wire that's connected from the choke negative terminal to the carburetor body, which is in turn grounded to the engine through the carburetor mounting bolts. Be aware that when it's all hooked up, a cold engine is going to receive the proper mixture with the choke closed, and as the engine heats up, the electric choke automatically begins to open as soon as the ignition switch is turned on, regardless of the engine starting up or not. When the ignition key of the engine's turned off, the choke thermostat will cool and reset the choke for the next